I'm pleased to report that the situation in Chernobyl is stable. In terms of radiation, I'm told it's the equivalent of a chest X-ray.
No, Chernobyl is on fire. Interestingly enough, after Gorbachev retired, he said that the thing that brought down the Soviet empire was, that began the end of it, was Chernobyl. And they realized that this was a small nuclear event. I mean, it didn't actually explode, it didn't ignite. But the fallout from this nuclear accident was so severe, and that's what they get into in the third and fourth episodes, where they're trying to clear it up, and they clean it up. And I mean, they're having to, they literally move the earth to try and figure out how to get rid of all this radioactive material. That the Soviet High Command realized that they couldn't actually conduct a nuclear war because they would be impossible to survive. And that was the beginning of the end of the Soviet regime. One of the things that is sort of insidious about the threat of it is, initially when you go into these environments, you're terrified, but because you can't see it and you don't know what it's doing to you, very quickly you become blasé to what it's potentially doing to you. And so people started to take massive risks. Plus, the Soviets were lied to, and they were told that if you drank enough vodka, it would protect you from the effects of radiation. So they were handing out bottles of vodka to everyone, and they were smashed, absolutely smashed.
And of course, vodka does not protect you from radiation poisoning, just to point that out.
Yes, it doesn't.
For your character, I mean, obviously, who is a real-life person, we talk about his legacy and the effects it had on him because he killed himself.
Yeah, I think it was significant that the day that he did it was the day that he was supposed to go back to the Politburo and deliver another report about how successful, you know, they dealt with the whole incident. He didn't want to lie again, and he was making a statement, and then he was trying to provoke a discussion about within the scientific community to talk honestly about what had happened and why it had happened, because I think there were 20 nuclear reactors built to this design around the Soviet Union, and they all had the same flaw in them. So any one of them could do the same thing. In fact, when we filmed in Lithuania, and when Lithuania joined the EU, one of the conditions of them joining the EU was they had to decommission the nuclear reactor that they had.
And the legacy of Chernobyl is still being felt. International experts to this day still continue to call it the worst nuclear disaster in human history. There may have only been, well, I say only, over 30 people killed directly, but the thousands of cases afterwards, it is a lasting legacy to this day.
The birth defects in Belarus and Ukraine are just appalling, and the rates of cancer there and everything are just appalling. And they aren't included in the official figures, but there's, the real numbers are in the tens of thousands of people who've either died or had their life affected by it, or their children's life affected by it.
There is the whistleblowing element as well.
Yes.
And just in light of recent events, I think about Cambridge Analytica, the National Health Service in this country. What do you think the message is in terms of the courage that these people show to stand up to the establishment and speak their truth?
We should probably see these people as being heroes. It takes a tremendous amount of courage for people to stand up and say that they've seen something wrong and that something should change. And again, on the one hand, you rely on these people to stand up and act on their conscience because they see something's gone wrong. And at the other hand, there's no great support towards them. And once they do that they shouldn't be vilified, and their lives shouldn't be ruined, and their characters shouldn't be assassinated. Or the people who do it are tremendously brave, because I don't think anyone does that without knowing what's going to happen, that their life will change forever.
What do you want people to take from Chernobyl, this series? I mean, we've talked about so much, it deals with so many issues, but what do you want people to take away from it?
Well, I think that the overall theme of the story is how something as simple as a lie can lead to a catastrophic result, and that and you're dealing with in that case a society that was built on a culture of lies and deceit that people had become cynical about. They just didn't expect the truth. And you know, I mean, that word itself now, that the truth is a bit of a mine. People argue over whether things are, it is the truth. They're very successful at dismantling people's idea of their basis or their rationale for believing in something. That's a very dangerous situation to get into if we're not able to agree on whether a fact is a fact, you know.
I just want to know, as an actor, where you stand on the streaming versus cinema debate that's raging at the moment. You've got two very successful series, Mad Men and The Crown, that are on Netflix. Obviously, Chernobyl is going to be aired weekly on Sky Atlantic, but it'll be on our catch-up service as well. And there is this big conflict between the Hollywood elite, if you like, and the new streaming services, that they can't operate in the same space. Do you think that they can? You
know, that debate goes all the way back to when television first came out, and it was keeping people at home rather than going to the cinema, and specifically the way that this debate has reignited itself, it's around awards. And I think, you know, they have the people who hand out the awards have the right to decide what the criteria for entering into it is. I don't think, obviously there's a space for both experiences to exist, and I think that one of the reasons why the streaming services are so successful is that their content is geared towards adults who find it hard to get out. And it's part of the reason why I feel that we are experiencing this golden age of television, is they are able to satisfy an adult demand for content, you know, which demands greater storytelling, more complex storytelling.